a Thursday night football game, and maybe you watched it, maybe you didn't, or maybe you started watching it and you're like, hey, this is actually a decent game, and then it got boring, it got ugly. You knew the Broncos were going to win, so you decided to just leave it on the background. Then you heard Drew Brees talking to Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit talking about pickleball, and you're like, hey, that's actually very interesting. And believe it or not, I wrote about that about Drew Brees playing pickleball because there was really nothing else to talk about here. But hey, we are here for Gilberto's Hour. Yes, it's my show, but it's your show too, where we talk about NFL Week 7, fantasy football, best bets in the NFL. But we'll break down a little bit of this Broncos 33-10 victory over the Saints. I guess kind of a homecoming for Sean Payton, but other than that, not too much to talk about. But I did find something to talk about, so check out the story at si.com and stay tuned right here to talk about Broncos Saints. But just a little few minutes, and then we'll move on. But don't be shy. Ask us fantasy football questions, anything about the NFL, sports bets questions. So, but again, I'm not alone. A little late here. If you're on the East Coast or a different part of the world, and maybe it's early, join us here on Gilberto's Hour. Victor, how you doing, sir?
Doing good, I guess. If you're just finished watching the Dodger game as well as they go through up 3-1, you can join us and we can talk some football here, Gilbert.
Yeah, there was other things to watch. Dodgers beating the Mets 3-1 in the series there. But if you're a diehard football fan, and I guess the thing about football is like you kind of find something to watch because there's sports betting, there's fantasy football. But then again, if you had somebody in this game, I feel bad for you. Maybe I'm Alvin Kamara. But other than that, you shouldn't have anybody in this fantasy football matchup here. But if you did, maybe you got a is it estimates? I don't even know. But the Broncos rushed for 225 rushing yards here tonight. But we'll keep it quick here, Victor, and I'll share my takeaways here a little bit. Uh, and the way I was trying to write this story, and like I made the whole Drew Brees pickleball reference, I'm like, there wasn't really much to talk about. And the thing I kind of went back to was, well, you know what? Sean Payton is coaching against his former team. And maybe we could compare a little bit how that rebuild is going compared to this one. And obviously, not as good because the Saints immediately won a lot of football games with Drew Brees. 2006, they won 10 games, and in 2009 they won the Super Bowl. So I don't know if the Broncos are going in that direction. I don't know if they can win 10 games this season. I don't know if they're ever going to win a Super Bowl with Sean Payton. And the biggest piece, obviously, like they don't have Drew Brees, and they have a good defense. They got some playmakers. I think even Bo Nix is a playmaker, but is he a franchise quarterback? That doesn't look likely right now, but there's some progress there. So I guess the way you could say it, if you're making comparisons between Sean Payton's Saints the first year, and Sean Payton's Broncos in the first year, one team is good. Or they're getting better. But the Saints, obviously, you saw it right away. Don't expect that in Denver. But Vic, I guess for you, what have you seen? Because to me, I see a team steps forward, doing
Yeah.
well, maybe headed to the playoffs, maybe next year. I don't know about this year, but it's a very slow rebuild. And then if you think about all the mess that happened with Russell Wilson, maybe you'll take that all day.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I'll say from this is I think a lot of the credit goes to Vance Joseph. I know everybody wants to talk about Sean Payne, give him the credit for, them being 4-3 right now, Gilbert. But offensively, I don't see anything that I like here, Gilbert. I mean, when your top receiver doesn't get a target, that is not good. I mean, I get it. Bo Nix, 16 of 26 for 165 yards. As you mentioned, the Broncos offense, 226 yards rushing. That's 225 yards rushing, I should say. And I mean, I'm going up against somebody who had Javante Williams, who had 26 fantasy points today, which is, I mean, that's good to see that from Javante Williams. They're going to lean more on the run here. It looks like offensively, but to me, the conversation starts and ends with this Broncos defense and just what they've done to get better over the offseason. And I know there was a lot of jokes towards Adam Rank at the beginning of the season for having the Broncos in the playoffs. And I said, look, honestly, I wouldn't put it past, the Broncos to get into the playoffs. And I get it. They're 4-3. And, sometimes a defense can get on a roll, Gilbert. This is kind of what we wanted to see, or what we kind of imagined the Raiders doing was leaning on that defense, and that being the catalyst for them making in the playoffs. But maybe we got the wrong AFC team here, and then maybe it's the Broncos, and it could be either the Broncos or the Chargers here, just depending on what happens the rest of the season, Gilbert.
Yeah, let's say hello to our usual suspects here, our regulars, our awesome supporters. We have a Thier here saying hello, guys. And then we have Jorge tuning in for Gilberto's hour and even being nice to me, give me a compliment. I did get a haircut today, Jorge. Thank you for that. So we accept compliments here and we accept fantasy football questions. Don't be shy. Follow the lead of Jorge and a Thier. But yeah, Victor, before we move on from this game, you're right. There's still an opportunity for a wild card position for the Broncos. It's going to be tough to catch the Chiefs in the division, but
Right.
right now the Steelers are number 5, the Chargers are number 6, and the Broncos are number 7. Obviously, with the extra game right there, but they can make the wild card. They can definitely do that, but you still got the Colts there. Maybe the New York Jets do something. Maybe the Bengals make a late comeback. You never know. So they are in wild card contention. So there's something there. And yeah, I do want to give Vance Joseph a lot of credit for the defense, Victor. But I do give Sean Payton credit for being patient with him. Remember last year, everybody
Yeah.
wanted to fire the guy when they lost 70-20 to the Miami Dolphins. So outside of Patrick Surtain the second, they don't have much talent, and they're very good at the line of scrimmage, both sides, offensive line, defensive line. That's a good sign of a good head coach, a good operation. When you could do that, control the line of scrimmage, definitely a good sign. But they seem like a team that's ways away. Maybe a team you can't really, truly, I guess, respect or be worried about because you don't know what you have in Bo Nix. And Bo Nix was drafted as a sixth quarterback in the first round for a reason. He doesn't
Yeah.
have the physical skill set as Caleb Williams or Drake May. He's not as mobile or as accurate as Jaden Daniels. Maybe he's not as good as Michael Penix Jr. or even JJ McCarthy. So you kind of see the limitations there. And I wrote about this, Victor. It's either going to be Will Levis because Will Levis was actually showing some flashes last year. Remember, he was a
Yeah.
playmaker. He was moving the chains, doing well, and the Titans bought in and they rebuild it around him, and it's not working out. Or maybe it's more like Baker Mayfield, who doesn't have the strong arm or the skill set, but hey, playmaker with confidence, and he figured it out as he went along. But Baker Mayfield Buccaneers is a very high level now. He's playing very, very well. But we'll find out over the years. I guess in the NFL, you should be a little more patient. Remember what happened with Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield being another one. So
Yeah.
I don't want to write out Bo Nix so early, but I'm with you. It's going to be a long time, or maybe if he never gets there, to be a good passer in the NFL.
Yeah, and then the problem, and I'll keep this quick, Gilbert. The problem is he's also an older quarterback. You wouldn't, you if he was a younger guy, like in his early 20s, I'd be okay. But the fact that, he just doesn't
Mhm.
stretch the field, and I do like the comparison with Baker Mayfield, in terms of the moxiness. He has that
Mhm.
moxie in him where, you saw him in the sideline there, going, kind of getting into it with Sean Payne. So you like that kind of stuff, but he's not gonna be a guy who's gonna win you games with his arm. I think it's more of he's gonna be a game manager, and if that's what you're looking for, and that's all you need, if you're Sean Payne, then awesome. But you need a little bit more than that if you're gonna want to be a playoff contender.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you. Maybe they make it this year, but we'll see. A lot of football left. They're 4-3, and I guess we forgot about the New Orleans Saints. Let's say this: Sean Payton's new team is doing better than his old team. They are a mess. They started off 2-0, 5-game losing streak. They were at one point being outscored 60 points to 3 for nearly 6 quarters. They got a garbage time touchdown at the end too in that streak. I guess it's 60-10 if you want to think about it. Still very bad. So what does that mean for not Sean Payton, Dennis Allen? What does
Yeah.
that mean for Derek Carr's future? To me, I think it's time to blow it up. But I'm ready to move on. I
Yeah,
think we
and no,
both
and
agree
just
there.
just to go off of that, I mean, he was asked, and he said he's not worried about his job. So,
Mm.
I mean, when people start asking those things, Gilbert, we got to start paying attention. He might be the next guy on the one, with the hottest seat out there in Dennis Allen. All right, Gilbert, let's go ahead and move on here. Let's go to our top three matchups of the week, and then we're gonna start off with our headline game of the week, and that's the Super Bowl rematch between the Chiefs and the 49ers. The 49ers are 1.5 point uh favorites here with the money line at minus 122 and the over under at 47. Where do you want to start here with the Super Bowl rematch?
Yeah. First of all, a reminder: don't be shy if you're watching. Ask us fantasy football questions, anything about the NFL or sports bets here. Again, this is a show to answer questions and just engage and have fun talking football. So don't be shy in the comments. But for me here, or overall, this week 7, by the way, has a lot of really good football games. And I'll start off by saying this, Victor. Last week the favorites really dominated for the first time in the NFL this season. You could tell the difference between the good teams and the bad teams, and there's kind of that wide gap. And even some of the bad teams got worse this week with the Raiders trading Devontae, the Browns trading Amari Cooper. So you're starting to see the race and some separation there. So I wonder if a lot of favorites are going to start winning this week. So I'm starting to lean a little more towards that. But there's a lot of really close games. There's a lot of good games in week 7 that kind of worry me. So it won't be like last week where the favorites went 12-2 against the spread, because there's just too many damn close games where you don't even know who's going to win. It's a coin flip. You can't figure that out. So some of these games do scare me when in terms of a sports betting standpoint. Like even like this 49ers Chiefs game, like I know the 49ers are the favorites right now. They are at home, but Kansas City's got a bye week. And we all know Andy Reid's record after a bye week. I think he's like 21-4 all time, something wild like that. So part of me wants to lean with the Chiefs here. They're fresh, but they're on the road. Couple injuries here and there for them. But why is Vegas favoring the 49ers? I kind of hesitate there a little bit. Like
Yeah,
they're banged up. They're 3-3, I want to say, Victor. So they have a lot of issues, but they did beat the Seahawks there. They are at home. They're a pretty good team at home. But for me, I can't go away from the Chiefs. Athir, Jorge, big surprise, right? Me going with the Chiefs here. So it's essentially a pick on maybe like a 2 point difference or a 1 point difference here. But to me, I'm gonna go with Andy Reid on a bye week.
yeah. I mean, can I just give you one stat? Andy Reid is 21-4 in his career when he has a bye coming off a bye. So I mean, yeah, I just you don't want to get the Chiefs coming off a bye, especially with Andrew Reid coaching them. But I was kind of surprised. It's I get it. The 49ers are at home, but both of these teams haven't looked up to what we thought. We see this season, Gilbert. I mean, the Chiefs are 5-0, but we don't know who's going to be their best weapon offensively right now. I mean, it's been crazy kind of seeing Juju Schuster kind of be the leading receiver for the Chiefs right
Yeah,
now, and then you have Kareem Hunt as their rushing.
yeah, the
So it's
throwback
like,
team.
I mean, what is this 2019 or something? I mean, it's just crazy to see what this Chiefs team is able to do. And then for the 49ers, I mean, I know a lot of people still don't believe in Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy's having a great season, passing wise. I think what I really liked about Brock Purdy this season, Gilbert, is his ability to get out of the pocket and make plays. I mean, that's been really good. Hopefully, it sounds like Mason's going to be good to go. I think where this game kind of hangs in the balance for me is not having CMC in this game and being able to run some screens here. I just think Steve Spagnuolo is going to have a great
Yeah.
plan for that Shanahan offense, and I think that's where the difference is. And I'm with you. I like the Chiefs in this game as well.
Yeah, that's a good point right there because obviously there's a difference between Christian McCaffrey and Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason's doing a terrific job. I think he's number 2 in rushing yards this season, so he's doing a fantastic job. But there's a reason why this guy's getting paid a bunch of money, Christian McCaffrey, that is,
Yeah.
because he's versatile. He's probably the best pass catching running back in the NFL, maybe between him and Saquon Barkley. But he has that different gear, that different element, that different type of okay, you got to prepare for as a coach. So yeah, if you're SPAC, you're probably saying, "Cool, I've seen a bunch of rugged runners before. I've seen workhorse running backs, but you rarely see the type of Christian McCaffrey versatility. So that could be a difference there. Uh, and who knows? Maybe the 49ers change, turn the corner there with that Seahawks game. You know, Kittle got involved, Debo got involved. Ayuk has been a little better. Jawan Jennings is there too. So, uh, yeah, a lot of issues here, or a lot of things that got figured out for the 49ers. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
I
got.
saw Jorge's
Let me
comment
get to
there.
these comments before we move on to our next thing here. Thier says he likes the 49ers in the 24 to
Hmm.
20, and then Jorge says, "Damn, big, you too." Hey, I'm just keeping it real, man. Like and trust me, I'll get back on your good graces when I talk about the Chargers later. Also, Thier, we'll get to your question when we talk about the Patriots. So hold on, and we'll get to it. But we have Isaiah Williams here. It's a new name here. He says,
Hey,
"Is Hawkinson a start if he's activated?"
ooh, well, it's a very good question. I kind of want to see, how he does from a very significant injury, but at the same time, it's tough to get tight end help and on the wire or just fantasy football overall. I have had Sam Laporta in two of my leagues, and he's doing okay, but he's not doing that well. I'm sure other people maybe are complaining about other tight ends. So if you're really hurting, I say do it, Victor. But maybe you have a better pulse on the tight ends. But to me, I haven't really been looking because I have Sam Laporta, but maybe I should. Maybe there's something better
Yeah.
out there, but it's always slim pickings to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I kept him on the pup list. If he's activated, I'd wait a week just because, and I get it. It's tempting, Gilbert, just because you're going up against a bad secondary in the
Yeah.
Lions, which we'll get into, which is a good transition. Soon we'll get into that game, but I just think you want to hold off one more week, even if he's activated, just because you want to see how he looks first, and then we'll talk about why I just don't think he's going to be involved, even if he comes. He's activated in the first week, Gilbert.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you. Got to wait a week for Hawkinson, but that says a lot about the Vikings, though, which we're gonna get to that. They still have a playmaker waiting to get on the field, and they're 5-0. And one more comment, Jay says, "What's up? What's up to you,
Yeah.
Jay?"
Yeah, what's up, Jay? Good to have you along. So, like as we said, don't be afraid. To ask us fantasy questions. We'll get to any kind of question you have. We'll get to it. So just be patient, and we'll get to it. So make sure that you send us your fantasy. All right, Gilbert. Let's start off with since we just talked about. Let's start off with that one as our page two. Top tier games of the week, and that is Lions Vikings. The Vikings are minus 1.5 point favorites. The money line is minus 122, and the over under is 50.5. Where do you want to start here?
Uh, you know, I'll start with the Vikings, and obviously, this storyline's been old where I didn't believe in them, and at this point, they are definitely for real. But I wanted to, you know, I keep making excuses for Sam Darnold because I haven't seen this guy in a close game. I haven't seen this
Yeah,
guy play from behind or be in a clutch moment. And maybe I might sound like a hater, but that's gonna come eventually.
that's a good point, though, Gilbert. I mean, we haven't seen it. He needs to be in a close game where the team isn't in a blowout. I'm with you.
Yeah, and maybe it could happen, but part of me feels like maybe not this week because the Vikings got the bye week. They're playing at home. The Lions just lost Aiden Hutchinson, and maybe I shouldn't look at it that way because the Lions still have a lot of good players, especially offensively. I think one of the things one of the reasons I'm not going to write out the Lions here is that they're just so damn explosive offensively, versatile. They could beat you in so many ways. You told them early in the season, run the damn football. They started doing that.
Yep.
Montgomery and Gibbs are looking better. They got Jameson William unlocked now. I'm on Ross, Ham, Laporta, Jared Goff. Whenever those guys are all doing well, Jared Goff does well too. So they could beat you in a variety of ways. So I think offensively, they're going to still be up there. And maybe they'll make a trade too for an edge rusher. But uh, I just feel like with that first game without Hutchinson being an adjustment for Aaron Glenn, the DC, and then having the Vikings well rested off of a bye week, maybe TJ Hawkinson comes back. It just feels like a game that I have to pick the Vikings, and it's a pick 'em too. It's going to be probably a shootout. It's going to be a fun game, and maybe we do see Sam Darnold going into the fourth quarter playing from behind. But for this game, with everything being said, with the loss of Hawkinson, sorry, the loss of Hutchinson, Hawkinson coming back, Hawkinson Hutchinson. and then the bye week. I feel like I'm gonna go with the Vikings here, and then yeah, maybe the Vikings. You know, they're probably saying, "Why are you jumping on the bandwagon?" Well, maybe if you're the real deal, then prove it while I'm on the bandwagon. So give me the Vikings for this week, Vic.
Yeah, I actually I'm interested, Gilbert, to know if the Vikings are 6-0, are you gonna go to that Thursday night game between the Vikings and the Rams?
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm definitely gonna go. Just I don't know what the Rams are gonna do, but I'm gonna. I want to check out the Vikings. I usually cover the Thursday night football game, so it's gonna be tough to do Gilberto's hours next week. We actually got to talk about that, Victor.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be at SoFi Stadium. We'll see how that works for here. Maybe I could do something. Maybe I could do a show from the stadium, or maybe I could drive really fast to get back home. But we'll figure that out.
Well, we
Uh,
also have the House of Horns post game show, so that's gonna be tough to
Actually,
do.
I didn't
So
even.
we'll have to,
Yeah, I didn't even
yeah,
think about that. There's a lot of
yeah,
Thursday clashing where maybe something has to wait. But I like doing both shows, House of Horns and Gilberto's Hour, and I gotta also cover this game.
yeah. We might
Uh,
have to do it on Friday, a special Friday show now of Gilberto's hours. So,
yeah,
but
we'll see. Yeah, we'll
we'll
talk
see.
about it.
Yeah,
It's gonna be my first game of the season. I'm excited about that because I've been watching a lot of these games from home, and I said anything prime time in LA Thursday or Monday, I'm gonna be there. So
yeah,
even if the Rams are bad, I want to see the Vikings because I should support them. I rooted against them
yeah.
to go 3-13, which was the
I
biggest
mean,
mistake
if they're
ever.
6-0, I would want you to be there just to for us to get some content.
Yeah,
So that would be good.
yeah, maybe I should walk around the stadium and tell people, "Hey, I'm the Joker who predicted that you lose all these games." But
Yeah.
maybe that's not safe for my part.
Yeah, we have Jorge Rodriguez who said just have Dan host the show. So maybe we can have Dan hosting Gilberto's hour
Yeah,
subbing in.
not a bad idea, Jorge. But I
All
think
right, we
the
got
guy
some
he needs to
fantasy
sleep.
questions here before I give you my thoughts here. Yo, Strouder Cousins this weekend.
So Stroud is playing the Packers, a little bit of a tough matchup in Green Bay, and then Cousins is playing the Seahawks. And I don't like the Seahawks defense. I know Mike McDonald was doing well when they went 3-0, but a bunch of injuries. The Seahawks always look like frauds to me. So Kirk Cousins is rolling. I think I'm high in the Falcons. I don't know. I don't. Vic is not as high as me. I feel like, but they ever since I beat the Buccaneers, I'm like, okay, that team found something. They unlocked, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, maybe Kyle Pitts. Even Kyle Pitts is making plays. So Cousins with a good matchup. I like Stroud. I'm the biggest Stroud supporter here, but I think that Packers matchup kind of scares me a little bit. We're going to talk about it too.
No, I do like the Falcons. I mean, I picked them to win that division. I just think it's going to be a two-horse race between them and the Buccaneers. Um I just been a little bit more impressed with the Buc. I get it. They beat the but that was at home. They'll get them back. I feel like. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm going up against somebody who actually sat Stroud and they started Bo Nix today in one of my other leagues, and I'm
Whoa.
just like, why? I just I was like, no, but I'm with
You
you.
got your rushing yards today. You got
Even
75
with
rushing
Byron
yards.
Murphy, even with Byron Murphy coming back for the Seahawks, I still I would go with Cousins in this game. I think if Stroud had Nico Collins, I would like him a little bit more as well, Gilbert. But it's going to be one of those games between the Texans and the Packers. The Packers they just they produce turnovers, and so that's the only thing that would keep me away from it. We've seen the Seahawks just allow yards after yards. So I would take Cousins here. We got mega break here with full PPR start. One Judy, Pittman, Juju, or Slayton.
I don't want Judy. He's on the Browns. Pittman had a good game last week. Juju, obviously having that kind of turn back the clock moment. Can he do it again? I don't know. Slayton had a good game last week, but Malik Neighbor is going to probably come back. Yeah, Wanda Robinson. So I guess all signs point to Pittman. The coach are playing the Dolphins, so I like it. What about you? What about you, Vic?
Yeah, I'm with you. I go with the one you went with. It's just I mean, you look at Judy. I know he's gonna get all the targets now with Cooper gone, but what can you expect
Deshaun
from
Watson.
Deshaun Watson?
Ugh.
I don't know who's starting for the Colts. So yeah, like it's either between for me, it's either between Juju or Slane. It just depends on what you like, but I think Juju's gonna get. I go with Juju just because he's the main guy right now with all the injuries that the Chiefs
Yeah,
have, Gilbert.
and going off with CK97 and saying Anthony Richardson is gonna come back, and I know it's kind of a bummer because Joe Flacco is the one that spreads the ball around,
Yep.
and all signs do point to Anthony Richardson being back. So, uh, he's shown some flashes with Michael Pittman, but yeah, they don't have the best chemistry. But everything we just laid out, like, can Juju do it again? Man, sure, he has Patrick Mahomes, maybe. Maybe that's my only option. I just don't want any part of Deshaun Watson, and then Darius Slayton might get lost behind Malik Neighbors and Wanda Robinson. And by the way, Darius Slayton, I think he should be traded to some contender because he can still play.
Yeah, and somebody brought up to the Chargers. I would
Mm.
not be, I would like that for the Chargers. Jorge says Kelsey's the main guy. Yeah, he is, but I think they're trying to take him away, and I think that opens up things for Juju. But we'll see. And then we have one more here. Well, two more. Jorge is asking Say Flowers or Cooper Cup this week.
Who? Zay Flowers is playing the Buccaneers. Cooper Cup is playing the Raiders. Uh, I think I'm gonna go with Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers had a good game against the Commanders. I think for the first time this season, we saw the trio: Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson, and it was good. Good results there against the Washington Commanders. So I'm gonna keep riding that.
Yeah.
But Cooper Cup coming off an injury, I don't know if I like that. I'm a little hesitant to see that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Go Say Flowers here. We just don't know what to expect from Cooper Cup. We talked about it on House of Horns. I think you kind of want to see Cooper Cup run more of his routes than having him, block out there. I kind of want to see what he looks like first as well. Um, Josh Downs or Demario Douglas the rest of the season,
Yeah.
Gilbert.
Oh, rest of the season. Okay. I like Demario Douglas. I expect a little better this season, but he had Jacoby Brissett, and then now he has Drake May, and Drake May is looking good. I know they got blown out by the Texans, but they're playing the Jaguars this week, so maybe there's something there. But okay, so this is where I go back to my dilemma with with Anthony Richardson. I like the
Yep.
guy. I think maybe people are writing him off a little too soon, but I'm gonna be real. He's not as polished of a passer. Might never ever get there because he's that's not his game. But Joe Flacco obviously spins it better. He's more pushes the ball better down the field, more accurate. So Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman Jr., all those guys would benefit more with Joe Flacco. I hate to say it, but that's why I think I'd rather go with Drake May, who even already to this day, right now, he's a rookie. And think about it, Anthony Richardson didn't play a lot of games in college, so maybe even a guy like Drake May is more ahead when it comes to passing. So I like Demario Douglas. I'm not sure what you feel, Victor, here.
No, I'm with you. I mean, I think he got a team high 9 targets in his first game with Drake
Yeah,
May
he
last
had that
week.
nice touchdown, right?
Yeah.
On the sideline.
Yeah, you also had Butte. I mean, I wanted
Oh
to
yeah,
say
oh
that
man,
name.
that was him.
That was
Sorry,
that was that was
yeah,
the one. So, but yeah,
yeah,
no, I'm with you here. Just if it was Joe Flacco, I would have gone with Josh Downs the rest of the
yeah.
season. I'm with you, but yeah, give me Demario Douglas here rest of the season. Javier Delgado says, "Rate my team. What moves can I do? 10 team PPR, two flex, Purdy, JT, Breeze, Broad, Pollard, Hunt, Swift, Cup, St. Brown, Reed, MHJ, and Joku and Laporta, 2 and 4."
Oh, 2 and 4 with this roster? Oh man, so I think that's why Javier is asking. He's probably like, man, what the hell? I have a stacked roster. I'm 2 and 4. That's how I feel
Yeah,
about my team also. But this team is better. I feel like you have well, Jonathan Taylor has been hurt. Brees Hall has kind of been a bust a little bit in the fantasy football world. Brian Robinson's been decent. Pollard also kind of consistent, but you have a lot of depth at the running back. And then I like Jaden Reed. Marvin Harrison Jr. is kind of I'm starting to give up hope pick on Marvin Harrison
yeah.
Jr. Laporta's been so. I can see why you're 2 and 4, but on paper, it's a very good roster.
Yeah, I like that roster. I think you just got to stay with it. I mean, you've had some guys get hurt on you. You just gotta, stick with it, and then and see where you're at in a couple weeks. And then try to think about making some trades here. And I really like this roster. I think it'll get better going forward. I mean, you have some really good running backs and some receivers. I try to trade a couple of those running backs and see if you can get another receiver just to replace some of the other two guys, like MHJ, just because you don't know what you're gonna get from there. One more here from Max Udiski says CD or Neighbors rest of the season
Oh,
PPR. This is a good
oh,
one.
Troy Aikman called out the Cowboys wide receivers, called them
Yeah.
lazy, saying they're running terrible routes if they're not getting the football. They're not gonna run a good route. Maybe because people are just tired of Dak feeding CeeDee Lamb, and maybe that could be why the other receivers are not putting in the effort there. But yeah, that was those are some very harsh, critical words from Troy Aikman. Uh, but again, you got to keep in mind it's Daniel Jones, and then there's Dak's gonna feed CD, but I'm starting to get to a point where I am worried about CD and Lamb and his numbers. Maybe they're not. Maybe they'll never kind of redo what they did last year with a very prolific season. But I'm gonna go with Neighbors, Vic. I can't believe I'm gonna lean with Daniel Jones. You have Malik Neighbors in the league that we're in. He's been very productive. I know the concussions knocked him out for 2 games, but I'm tired of the Cowboys. After Troy Aikman called them out, I think I'm with him, and I think I'll go Neighbors here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased here because I have neighbors, but he's been a target. I mean, they just been feeding him, and they're running the offense through him. You can see that without him, they really missed him. So, and it's amazing what what Jones has been able to do. What how he much different he looks when he has neighbors out there. I just, I think that I take neighbors the rest of the season, and like I said, maybe I'm just biased because I have him right now, but I just feel that way. Noah Embody says, ETN and Jacobs for mixing. ETN will never start on my team. My running backs would be Bijan, Mixon, and A Sean. A
Before I answer the question, I want to know who's more annoyed: Tank Bigsby waiver wire pickup people, or
Oh yeah.
ETN fantasy drafters, or whatever you want to call them. But ETN has been a major disappointment going back to last year, and I've been waiting on Bigsby to take his job. For some reason, Doug Peters doesn't want to play the guy. Last week, I finally started Tank Bigsby, and what the hell happens? He gives me 6 crappy points because the coach won't give him carries. He got like 26% of the offensive snaps. What the hell are we doing, Doug Peterson? I'm going to stop myself because I am tired of Doug Peterson holding back Tank Bigsby. So, Noah, I'll answer your question, but I'm with you. Don't start ETN.
Yep.
ETN and Jacobs for Mixon. Uh, uh, so that's 2 players. Josh Jacobs. I like Joe Mixon's been very productive. I like Joe Mixon, but then when you throw in Josh Jacobs, it kind of feels a little too expensive. I'm with you though. Get rid of ETN. It's just with Jacobs, I feel a little hesitant, and then Mixon's been hurt too. Like I don't know if I want to do that, Vic. Maybe you have a better answer here, but I'm
I was
hesitant.
gonna say if I had a if I had a preference here, if you really want to get rid of a running back that you have on your roster there, I get rid of A Chain because we don't know what's
Yeah,
going to happen with that Miami offense. At least you know what the Packers are going to run the ball with Jacob. So if you
yeah,
can throw in A Chain instead, I do
yeah.
that
I
instead of
like that.
Jacobs. So
Yeah,
that would
and then
be
he gets hurt a lot.
yes.
H-Chan, like, he gets in, and he gets hurt. And it's like, no. So if you
Yeah.
could maybe rip somebody off for that, I'm
Yeah.
with Victor.
Yeah, no, I just I throw in A Chain instead of I almost asked for A Chain in a trade. I got offered uh who did I get offered? I forget, but I was gonna they had A Chain and I was like, should I ask for A Chain? I was like, no, then I went and I looked and like you said, he's always hurt and it's just I try to trade A Chain at
Hey,
this point to get
CK97 saying take the trade.
yeah, yeah,
I can't be
CK
mad at it though, because Joe Mixon's
yeah.
been very productive.
Yep, and when he plays, hopefully he can stay healthy the rest of the
I just
season.
don't want to give up on Josh Jacobs too soon, but I
Yeah,
get it. He's been kind of
exactly.
struggling the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and Atir, we'll get to your comment. All right, Gilbert, let's get to let me just give you a little bit of analysis of this Lions Vikings game, and then
Yeah,
we'll get to Atir's comment here. In terms of I think offensively, both of these teams are really good. We know what to expect. I mean, when you look at Justin Jefferson, the last 3 games against the Lions, he's gotten over 100 yards. It's if Aaron Glenn plans to play man to man against this Vikings team, he's gonna get torched by Justin Jefferson. You're gonna have to play some zone in this game to stay with Justin Jefferson. You have Addison as well. If you get Hawkinson back, that's another guy. But I just think they're gonna want to run the ball. It sounds like Aaron Jones is gonna be out for a couple weeks. They
mm,
traded for Cam
yeah,
Akers, but I still like what they have in the running back room. I don't think it's gonna, yes, they're gonna miss him a little bit, but I really like the running back room. We know, I as you mentioned with Ben Johnson, they're finally running the ball. Yeah, it was nice to see all the trick plays last week against the Lions, but I think this week, Gilbert, they need to run the ball. Like they need to, butter their bread with that running game. I really like what I've been seeing from Jamison Williams and and Amon Ross St. Brown and the rest of those guys. I think where this game comes down to, Gilbert, is the defense, right? I mean, Brian Flores is gonna just blitz the you know what out of Jared Goff, and I think that's where the difference is because I just don't think Aaron Glenn has enough guys out there to be able to stop this Vikings offense. And so for me, I'm going with the Vikings in this game. I think they get to 6-0. And then to Athir's comment here, he says Vikings prove it game. How serious are they? Are Detroit better team? But Jetta is problematic. Who's going to stop him and slow him down? So he
Yeah.
likes the
It's not
Lions
a
in
good
this game.
secondary. The secondary showed a little bit of improvement last week, but that's because they jumped on the Cowboys early and the game was over. So, yeah, Justin Jefferson, Addison, maybe Hawkinson, they could all go off on the secondary here. So, yeah, I'm with you on the Vikings here, Vic. And then before we move on, again, if you're liking the show, if you like the fantasy football conversation, if you like the Week 7 conversation, please do us a favor and subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the show. You know, we're Compas on the Beat. This is Gilberto's Hour. Obviously, the show, the YouTube channel is Compas on the Beat, but we like to have separate shows here. We have a show on Monday, Lunes Live. We have a show on Tuesday, the Four Compas. So you're going to enjoy the content and don't be shy. Comment and subscribe and be a compa, tell a compa. So, yeah, we'll get back to the program here, but don't be shy in the comments. We're going to stop to answer a lot of questions.
All right, our third game of the night here, Gilbert, for us to kind of dissect here is our third game, I should say, is Texans versus Packers. Packers are 3-point favorites. The money line is at -148 and over under is 47.5. Where do you want to start here with this game?
Yeah, the line was like -2.5 not too long ago. So that means people are betting on the Packers. And, you know, I don't blame them. The Packers, you know, it's weird because last week I was trying to figure out, okay, who's the best team in the NFC? And I kind of want to go with the Lions, you know, maybe obviously the Vikings, maybe the 49ers. And I'm like, the Packers, man. Something about those Packers, they just seem like they might be the most complete team. Like we talk about complete, I want to say the Vikings and the Packers are probably neck and neck, but then you look at the quarterback competition. I'm taking Jordan Love over Sam Darnold any day. So they feel like they're probably the best team on paper, at least, because they have a good defense, a good offense, they're very explosive. Uh, but you know, it's still early in the season. Maybe this might be a very good game between two very good teams. And the thing I keep going back to, obviously, I want to get a dog here, and I'm gonna support my Houston Texans here. So I'm gonna take the Texans. But the thing I keep going back to, Victor, the Texans got their butts whooped by the Minnesota Vikings. So the last time they played an NFC North team, they were not
Yeah.
even in the game. So maybe there's something there mentally. Hey, you got Joe Mixon back to maybe keep Jordan Love on the sideline for long stretches. Maybe you have that bad taste in your mouth from the last time you played an NFC North team. So I don't feel good about it. The Packers are very good. Maybe on paper they're better too. But I think the Texans kind of needed like a signature victory. Even that Buffalo game kind of felt like a sour ending because the Bills should have stole that game. They didn't. We know why, Sean McDermott. So I think the Texans will play better. And hopefully for my sake, they prove me right in showing that they are a legit Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I mean, I'm I agree with you in terms of what you're saying about the Packers and the Texans here. The Texans, I mean, the only thing is, Gilbert, I'm just still not sold on this team, and I don't know what it is. I'm kind of like the way you feel about the Vikings is the way I feel about the Texans. I need to see more. This is one of those games that I'm gonna pay attention to. I want to watch this whole game. This will be on my on one of my screens that I pay attention to. There's a lot of things to like about both of these teams, as you said, but I'll start with the Texans and why I'm still not sold. I feel like this team is is very reliant on CJ Stroud, Gilbert. And without Nico Collins, yes, they got Mixon back, and that was really good. But you struggle to beat a Patriots team. And then the week before that against the Bills, it was some boneheaded decisions late in the game that allow you to win that game. And I'm just like, I'm waiting for them to take that step to where I'm like, okay, show me that you just don't need CJ Stroud to bail you out of these games for you to win these games. And then with the Packers, as you mentioned, I think my biggest thing is, you know, the NFC North, Gilbert. They're the only division that has all teams have a positive point differential, and they're all in the 40s, Gilbert. The Bears, the Packers, the Vikings, and the Lions. And there's a reason why. And as you said, uh, you know, this division is legit, and I just want to continue to see improvement as we saw already with with Love, is Jordan Love, I should say. He's starting to kind of move around now with that MCL sprain, and that's kind of what you want to see. The thing with, this is a kind of like a Super Bowl matchup that you want to see in a couple years once both of these guys have been in the league for a while with CJ Stroud and Jordan Love. So I really like this matchup. It's one of those future matchups that you kind of wanted to see a Super Bowl out of in the next couple years. But I'm going with the Packers here at home. I just think the NFC North teams are really good, and if the Texans win here, they'll win me over.
Yeah, if I had to put money on it, I probably would stay away from this game, and I think it's gonna be a very good game, a close game, and I would not be surprised with either outcome here. But we'll see what happens. But let's
Y-
get moving on.
Yeah, here Jack Sprite says I just traded Gary Wilson for Tyreek straight up. Who won the trade?
Uh, man, I know a lot of people are seeing the reports of Tua possibly coming back, and you're probably thinking, "Oh, I could steal Tyreek Hill right now," and I don't know. I know I don't like Mike McDaniel as a coach, and I don't think it's gonna be as easy as plugging Tua back in to kind of recapture that offense. Like, have they really been a good offense since that hot September of 2023? Like, not really. I know Tyreek makes his plays, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just too down on the Dolphins. Maybe I just don't like Mike McDonald. Maybe I don't trust the health of Tua Tagovailoa. But to me, I don't want any part of that team. But I get it. A plan ahead is good. Uh, but why are we overlooking Garrett Wilson? Maybe doing better with Devontae. It's okay to have
Yeah,
two wide receivers doing well. The thing I keep going back to is like this could be a bad thing and a good thing, but a good thing and a bad thing. Devontae and Garrett both thrive being downfield playmakers. One is more physical, catch radius as Devontae. One is more of a speedster, and Garrett Wilson. But somebody needs to make plays closer to the line of scrimmage. They don't have an offensive line to hold up two guys go down the field. And a part of me feels like Garrett Wilson's going to be that guy who's a little bit more of a, they're both good route runners. I shouldn't say one's better than the other, but I think with the connection that Devontae and Rogers have, that's going to show down the field. They're years ahead of what Wilson and Rogers had. So I think Wilson might be moved more to the slot, maybe more inside, and that could be high value, high targets, and maybe it takes 4 or 5, catches, and he's going to get 100 yards receiving. I think he's going to eat in this offense. Uh, but also it could be a little scary because when you play TJ Watt like this week, this offensive line is not that good. But with an offensive line that's not good, I think it really goes back to quick throws, quick game, things like that. I think Wilson's going to be having that kind of role.
yeah, I'm with you. I mean, just because we don't know what's going to happen with this Dolphins offense going forward, even if Tua comes back, how does this? They were struggling even before he got hurt, Gilbert. I mean, go back and look at those first two games against Jacksonville. I mean, it was one throw there where Tyreek went down the field and he was able to score. He did all the work there, but I'm still worried about that Dolphins offense. I just don't
Yeah.
trust it, even if Tua is back. Atir here says, now we can talk. I'm not sold on the Green Bay before the season start. I do not care about the Chiefs, Ravens, Texans, best team. So he's with you. He says they win big, 31-13. So he's
Oh
also
wow.
a
Okay. I don't
Texans.
feel that confident, but I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. All right, Gilbert. So we're moving on to our betting locks of the week. Uh, um, Here, I messed up here one thing here,
Well,
and let
well,
me
one
just.
thing I'm waiting for you, Victor. I'm gonna see. I'm hoping you don't. But are you gonna
Yeah.
give yourself credit for a push where the Commanders got 7?
Yeah.
And
So
you should
yes,
not get credit for that. At the sports book, you don't get money for a
you
push.
don't, right? But we
You get
made
your
the
money
rule.
back.
Right, we made our rule last season because you had a couple of them like that, and we gave them to you. So we said,
Oh,
"Hey,
no, really? I did not
let
allow a push. I
okay."
hate ties. Come on. How about you get half? Like, I don't
I
even know
mean,
how to do
I'm
that.
with whatever you want to do. I don't really. We made that
I
the
feel like
rule
maybe
last
the
season.
conversation was the same way, and we just said, "F it. All right, we're gonna do
Yeah,
pushes, and you get the points."
yeah.
I just hate ties, and that's what
I
it feels like.
so do I, and you know I do. But I'm with whatever you want to do. I'm okay with.
All
Like I
right,
said, this is your show, so if we agree that that's what it is, then we'll do half a point.
all right.
Then
Say I lose at the end of the season by like 4 points. I'm gonna go back and look at this moment. This is why you beat
I
me.
think you're in good position
You came
with
back.
the
But
way you're
go ahead and take
usually.
the points on the push.
Well, we'll get back to it. I'll write this down and we'll get back into it. But now we get to our betting locks of the week 7, our 5 best bets from you and myself, Gilbert. After 6 weeks, you have 55 points. I have 38 points. If you let the people know how we do this, our 5 point system.
Yeah. So obviously, we've been doing this for the last 6, 7 weeks now. The bet that we feel most confident with, that's our 5 point bet. Then we have a 4 point, 3 point, 2 point, 1 point, and then how many you get right, you tally them. Like, say you get your 5 point right and your 3 point right, then you got 8 points right there. So that is the system here. And so far, I'm off to a good start. But it wasn't my best week last week because all these damn favorites won, and I hate when the favorites win. So
Yeah, you
uh,
went 2 out of 5, and then technically I went 2.5. I got 2.5 right. So
well,
if
you're
we're
getting
going
full
off the
credit. Let's
yeah,
not forget about that.
okay, all right. And so now, like I said, you have 55 points, and I have 38. So I was able to get 3 points on you there. All right, Gilbert, your best bets of the week. Let's start off with number 5.
Yeah, you got the banners up. I would
Yep,
care.
I got you.
Okay.
Here we go. You got
Yeah,
Colts -3 versus the Dolphins.
yeah. So now that the favorites are starting to win games, and now there's a separation between good team and bad team, I'm trying to find games where I could get some minuses, not too many pluses. I think maybe we're starting to not have as many now that we're into the middle of the season. But I'm not gonna get too carried away. I think last week only two teams covered, and one of them was the Cleveland Browns, who got like 9 points. So uh, big spreads still are kind of dangerous. So kind of find something smaller. So I went with the Colts -3 versus the Dolphins here. We've been crapping on the Dolphins this entire show. The one thing that Victor and I agree on: this offense is not good. And
Yeah.
I don't care that Anthony Richards is going to come back. I still believe in him. He's going to be enough to beat the Dolphins here. So uh, I go back to Anthony Richardson for when I say, look, he's going to be a good quarterback. Week 1 against the Texans, that was a shootout. That was in the 30s, I think. And he played lights out. So maybe he kind of recatches that against a terrible Dolphins team here for my 5 point game. What I have for my 4 point.
You have Ravens versus Bucks, and you're going
Yeah.
with the over at 49.5.
Yeah, one stat that I was reminded of, check out my column at si.com. I do a betting column. Last week, the over hit 11 times out of the 14 games, so the over is hitting. Another sign that teams are starting to get that rust off from not having a preseason. Four
Yep.
games in, the offenses are looking better. They know they know their teammates much better. So uh, the Ravens are definitely might be the best offense in the NFL. I think they're averaging about 29 points per game. So are the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are at home and were Baker Mayfield. They dropped 51 points last week. I'm expecting high scoring, a very damn good Monday Night Football game here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like both of the first two that you have so far. I don't have any qualms with either one of them. Your number 3 is Falcons -3 versus the Seahawks.
Yeah, I've had the Seahawks a couple times as like plus dogs to help me out. They keep failing me. I'm tired of them. This is where they make it up to me. Roll over against the Falcons. Give me the Falcons -3 right here.
Yeah, I like I said, another one that I like. I just I I think the Seahawks just have way too many injuries, and
Hmm.
offensively they just can't get their stuff going. Your number 2 is Texans +2.5 against the Packers. I
Yeah,
like this one. This is kind of ballsy.
yeah, and then I think I should have waited because it went to -3, right? I guess so.
Yeah,
I did
let's
it.
change that. Like
No, no, no. When you make the bet, and you
okay,
type it in, and let's pretend we're at the sports book. That's what I got. That's what I get. So I don't
all
want
right.
any favors here. But yeah, +2.5 here. Pretty, yeah, I guess, kind of a pickup, but you never know. With some couple of missed kicks here and there, it becomes maybe I get this 2.5 here. So, uh, I'm surprised I actually put this on here, but I wanted to support one dog, and I like the Texans here because they are the team that I picked to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
And then
and then your number one is Panthers +8 against the Commanders.
yeah, I'm kind of going against a little bit with my sleeper team, the Commanders. They're going to win this game, obviously,
Right,
but uh, I think the only team that's kind of really covered a big line was when the 49ers beat down the Patriots. So, yeah, even last week when there was a bunch of favorites dominating, it wasn't because it was like, a 8 or 9 point spread. They were getting 4 or 5 point spreads. They were covering easily. I think the Panthers with Andy Dalton could show some fight here. And maybe I get a backdoor cover here. It's just a big ass. Sorry, I shouldn't say big ass. Big line here
right.
for me.
Yeah, okay. I'll just say this in terms of this matchup here, Gilbert. I also have this one, not this exact, but this game as one of my best bets.
Mm.
But one of the things that I want to see from this
Mhm.
Commanders team is I want them to be, you know, I don't want them to have a letdown here. They better beat the Panthers, or else people are gonna start, jumping off the bandwagon here. So that would be that would be my thing. And then Deer says, Gilbert, you was doing good until the end of the Panthers losing by 20.
Yeah, I don't feel good about it. That's why I made it my 1 point game, but I could definitely
Yeah.
see that happen.
All right, Gilbert. Let's move on to mine here. My five bets for week 7, and I hope Charger fans are in the chat still here, listening to us or watching us, because my number 5, Gilbert, is the Chargers at -2.5 versus the
I like it.
Cardinals. And I'm a believer in this Chargers defense, and I'm jumping off the bandwagon with the Cardinals. I just think that now with Justin Herbert finally getting unleashed last week, I this is what I've been wanting to see from this team. And now that I've seen it, I want them to continue. I think they continue it down. Unfortunately, we a lot of us aren't going to be able to see this game because it's on ESPN Plus, and I honestly would rather see the Ravens and Buccaneers if I'm given a chance between the two games. But I'll be flipping back and forth here. But yes, give me the Chargers here -2.5 against the Cardinals. I just really like what I've been seeing from this team. I hope they continue it. And then one of the things that I said, especially after they beat the Raiders, was I kind of want to see them not have a letdown game. I just don't expect it from Jim Harbaugh. Like, they're well coached, and so I expect them to handle the Cardinals. My number 4, as I
Hold
mentioned,
on,
I
Vic, and real
yes,
quick, and also maybe no Marvin Harrison Jr. for the Cardinals. If
yes,
they don't have him, what the hell do they really have? And I wanted to pick this game with the Chargers, but if I pick them to whatever cover and win, everybody's
yes,
gonna say I cursed them. So I did them a favor, and
yeah,
I didn't even touch this game for the bets. But I like it.
yeah, and I'm not a curse, but maybe if they lose,
Yeah, if
people
that
will
if they
come.
lose, then blame Victor. Remember that,
Yeah,
people.
there you go. Uh, Moving on to number 4, my number 4, I have the Chiefs as +1.5. As I said, um, Andy Reid is 21-4 coming off a bye. I just, that, and then Steve Spagnuolo is going to be the difference in this game. I just think he has just what he needs to be able to go up against the Shanahan offense. My number 3, going back to the Lions and Vikings, I'm going over here 50.5. I just
Ooh,
think both of these offenses are going to be able to score points. As you mentioned, that 11 teams hit the over, 11 games hit the over last week. I think this is going to be one of those. So I'm making my number 3. And then I'm going back to the well here with the overs, Gilbert. Commanders versus Panthers over 51.5. I just think, you know, both the Panthers defense and the Commanders
mhm.
defense aren't that good. I think both of these teams are going to be able to score on each other. And then my number 1, just because I needed to take high one of the high one of the high numbers here. I took the Raiders at +7 versus the Rams. That's too high of a number. I just feel like I think the Raiders are gonna keep it close here. I still have the Rams winning, but I just think they keep it close. So I'm making that my number 1.
Cool. Uh, Yeah, I think the Chiefs 49ers one, I really wanted to go Chiefs, but it was just too close. It's just close game where I kind of got scared of that one. And I'm with you on the overs, man. There's gonna be some good high scoring games, and I just hope the games are much better. Like if they're gonna be high scoring, don't be like 50-10 games. And I want to see some like 38-33 kind of games. So hopefully a little closer games this week.
Yeah, and then before we move on to our quick dump outs, Deer says, Victor, I can't blame you for taking KC, but remember, this game is not the Super Bowl, so KC might lose. Laugh out loud. So that's true.
Yeah.
They did lose to the Eagles last season, so that is a good point by you. But I'm just going off of what Andy Reid has done. But up next now is our quick dump offs, where we kind of pick the rest of the games here, Gilbert. And we'll start off with the Patriots. And Adir, since he's hung on this whole time, he had a comment here, and he says, among the three quarterback takings, I love May over the other two that were picked in the future because
Wow.
I trust the Patriots ownership in 3 years down the road more than Chicago and Washington. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, it's tough to kind of, go against Jaden Daniels. He's been so damn accurate. One of the best deep ball throws in the NFL already. Mobile. He's kind of the total package there. You wish he's a little bigger because he takes a lot of hits. But Drake May, he might have better physical gifts, but is he ready to go like Jaden Daniels? I think Drake May played a lot of games in college, not as much as Jaden Daniels, who played at ASU, played at LSU, and he was a starter multiple years at both stops there. So uh, it might take Drake May some time, but even during the draft process when we were having our shows here, Vic, you remember I was pretty high on Drake May. I think
Yeah,
he kind of reminds me a little bit of Justin Herbert, so
yeah.
maybe that's why Athir likes him a lot.
Yeah, no, and he reminded me a lot of Justin Herbert, like watching some of his tape. Like I'm not a tape head or anything, but I came out, I was like, he has kind of like the same physical tools you want to see in a guy like that. So I mean, I don't blame Atier for thinking that. I mean, we've seen that some of the other guys who aren't the first or second quarterback taken are the ones that end up doing better. I mean, look at Josh Allen. We've seen other guys kind of, Justin Herbert as another example of guys who weren't the first couple picks, but they were like the third guy taken. So I can see why a lot of people will take Drake May in this situation. But I'll say this in terms before we get to Patriots Jaguars here, Gilbert. I think one of the things that we're seeing too, Gilbert, with all three of these picks is the fact that they stayed in school and got experience and staying in college and with Jaden Daniels, he was at ASU and then went to LSU. Caleb Williams was at Oklahoma, then went to USC, and then Drake May stayed in school for a couple years. So I getting that experience and being able to have that, I think is very valuable. And I think it's showing why all three of these guys have done really well so far this season.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it's paying off to stay longer and get some experience in the NFL. Sorry, in the college game.
All right, Patriots at Jaguars. The Jaguars are 6 point favorites, and the over under is 42. What do you got here?
Yeah, this line keeps shifting more to the Jaguars. A lot of money in the Jaguars, which
Yeah.
I don't know why there's a lot of support there, but I get it. The Jaguars have been in London
Yep.
2 weeks now, so it kind of feels more comfortable home environment for them. The Patriots are pretty much a big mess there, but I will take the Jaguars to win. But now that it's getting to 6 points, I'll take the Patriots to cover. I know the Patriots looked terrible last week. They lost by 20 points, but Texas and the Patriots are different teams. Jaguars and the Patriots might be a little closer.
Yeah, I like the Jaguars in this game, but I'm with you. I like the Patriots to cover. We have a question here, and this is something I like to do, Gilbert. Like this is part of my strategy. And so let me read you this question from Freezy Fantasy. Says Aubrey got dropped for his bye this week. Do
Ooh.
I pick him up and not have a kicker for the week? I'm projected to win by 15.
Okay, I think you're gonna say just kind of stash him on your bench
I
and
would
still.
stash him.
Yeah, but
Yes,
he's saying not to even play a kicker. Maybe he has a lot of guys on his bench. He doesn't want to drop anybody to make room for. It's hard to keep two kickers, so I
right.
get that. So I think from that point of view, I think I would still do it. If I'm
Yeah.
forced to keep everybody in my bench and I don't wanna play a
He says
kicker,
he only has 4 bench spots.
there you go. So I would do it. Aubrey's been a machine, and
Yeah.
remember we're making fun of our friend Rudy who
Yes.
picked Brandon Aubrey like in the fourth round. It's still a little too high for me, but this
Yeah.
guy's been averaging like what 15 to 20 points a week. That's pretty good.
Yeah, my only 2 losses, Gilbert, in fantasy in terms of our league, one was because Rudy had Audrey, and that's who beat me, and then the other one because the 3 receivers I had all were out. I mean, Justin Jefferson was on a bye, Neighbors was had a concussion, and Nico Collins is also hurt. So, I mean, yes, like, if you can Aubrey is a difference maker, and if he's on your wire, go pick him up. Sometimes you have to give up a loss, kind of like what I did last week. And if you're able to get someone like Aubrey here, I think that it's worth
Yeah.
the getting that player,
It
Gilbert.
it made me laugh because I'm gonna plug my TikToks. Follow me on TikTok at gmontown24. I go live before Thursday Night Football for an hour to talk about fantasy football, and I saw a comment there. Oh yeah, I got an offer for Brandon Aubrey. I'm like, damn, he's getting included in trade offers now. Like
Yeah.
that's how good he is so far. So go get him.
Yep. We got one more here from there to discover trade Devontae Adams and Chase Brown for Derrick Henry. Yes,
Oh
go do
yeah,
it.
I could definitely in a heartbeat. I don't care for Chase Brown. I'm not gonna wait for that. And Devontae on a bad offensive line Jets team. I'm okay with Derrick Henry. Give me that for sure.
I'm running, hitting that send button. Athir said he's got Patriots 24-18, and he says Jack's coach gets fired. I think if they do lose, Gilbert, that's the reason I'm putting up that comment. Is I if the Jags lose, he's getting fired. No, he's not coming back.
Yeah, they really like the London experience there. And if you lose 2 games in London back to back weeks in ugly fashion, I think Shad Khan might get fed up.
Yeah. We got another question here from Frenzy Fantasy before we move on to our next game, Gilbert. He says, what do you guys think about these two trades I made today? DK Metcalf plus BJ Robinson for Jamar Chase and James Conner. Debo Samuel plus Nick Chubb for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
The last one I definitely love Amon-Ra St. Brown over Debo and Nick Chubb. But Nick Chubb, I know people are thinking he's gonna come back, and Nick Chubb. The way I've been seeing a lot of Nick Chubb trade involvements makes me feel like there's a lot of those are the casual people in the fantasy football world that just know names. They don't know current players or current situation, the current
Yep.
injuries. I think that's why Nick Chubb's getting a lot of love right now. But like that was a very significant injury. I gotta wait for it. So give me Amon Ra for sure. And then the first one is DK and Bijan for Jamar Chase and James Conner. I've been very happy with Jamar Chase in my league. He's helping me just stay relevant in my league. So I think Chase outweigh kind of, I guess you're doing kind of one for one. I think Chase is better than Bijan. That's a very interesting trade, though, Vic. What do you think?
Yeah, I got offered James Conner this week, and the only reason I kind of turned it down was just because he got hurt at the end of the game, and I want to see. I expected the Cardinals to run the ball more. They haven't been able to, and so. But I do like that Jamar Chase, James Conner side of that trade.
Yeah.
If that's who you got, you did really good there.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
All right, Gilbert, let's finish up. Times at Bills. Bills are 9.5 point favorites. The over under is 41.
Yeah, this is one of those massive lines that I get afraid of, but I think the Titans are who we know they are. They're not a good team. They still keep trying out Will Levis out there. Will Levis could make a couple boneheaded pick sixes and the game kind of flips on a dime. So I think I'm going to take the points here. I'm going to lay them and give me the Bills minus 9.5. They just got Amari Cooper. They're feeling good. They beat the Jets on Monday Night Football. They're going back home. I know the defense is not the best, but again, it's Will Levis, so I will take the points here. And the Titans have screwed me over so many times. I'm tired of them.
Yeah, and every time we pick them, they lose. So yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm with you. Uh I that line is pretty big for me
Yeah.
though. The Titans defense is legit though. Offensively, the Titans just can't do anything because of Will Levis. But yes, give me the Bills in this game, and James Cook. It sounds like he's gonna
Yeah.
play in this game, so that's another good reason to have the Bills here. Bengals minus 5.5. The over under is 41 and a half at the Browns.
I was surprised to hear that the Browns are getting a lot of love at the sports books because they did cover against the Eagles. But the Browns just traded Amari Cooper. I think people are starting to wave the white flag there. I think they're going to roll over. I know the Bengals are very hard to trust to cover because they've done that. They failed a couple times this season, but I'll take the Bengals in the plus. Sorry, in the minus 5.5 too.
Yeah, give me the Bengals here. Yeah, the Browns cover. And I know last season the Browns beat the Bengals to open the season. I get it. Joe Burrow has struggled against the Browns, but this is not the same Browns defense that we've seen lately, Gilbert.
Mhm.
I just, and honestly, that game was more about the Eagles offense being inept than, and I like what I've seen from the Bengals lately. I know they covered, they did cover against the Giants, so there's that
Yeah,
last week.
yeah. They
So
got a garbage touchdown because
yes,
I was hoping
which
to get
which
that
I
one right.
thought was gonna give me the win like last week, and of course I had Shakir, and Shakir didn't do anything, so that's what ended up killing
Mm.
me, unfortunately. All right, Gilbert, Eagles minus 3.5, over under is 42.5 at the Giants.
Okay, I think Malik Neighbors is trending in the right direction. The Eagles just find ways to win ugly. I know we say that a lot about the Texans, but the Eagles are winning in a really ugly fashion. They're not well. They only have 3 wins this with the bye week, so I think the Eagles win, and I'm going to say the Giants cover with Malik
Yeah,
Neighbors
I'm with you.
back.
I'm with you there. It's gonna be a Saquon game. Like, if you don't feed Saquon here as a revenge game, you're doing it wrong. Like that, this is a game that you should get right here. Let Saquon go off as his revenge game. Show them why it was the mistake to let him, not re-sign him. And so, yeah, I'm with you on both of those. Jets, last one, Gilbert. Jets minus 1.5. The over under is 45.5 at the Steelers.
This is one of those games that I would stay away from a betting standpoint. I went back and forth on who to pick. I originally picked the Steelers at my SI.com pick 'em, but then when I got together with you guys, I found out Russell Wilson's gonna start.
Yep.
So I went with the Jets. I'm split here, but I think I'm gonna go back to the Steelers. I think TJ Watt's gonna wreck that game plan for the Jets offense. They're gonna be very excited to have Devontae. The Steelers defense is just very good, and they're at home, so I don't feel good about either game. Devontae Adams, uh, you know, Russell Wilson, just too many unknowns, too many things I haven't seen before to even feel confident. But I'll take the Steelers being at home.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I just don't understand. I hope Mike Tomlin has a change of heart and he goes back to Justin Fields.
Yeah,
I don't understand that at all. I get it. Like, you want to be loyal, you promise him the starting job, but like, I just don't understand that. But I'm sticking to my pick. I'm gonna stay with the Steelers here. They're at home. You just expect a lot better production from the Steelers there. All right, Gilbert, we have a bunch of questions here for you, and then I'll get to one
okay.
comment here from Atira as well. That'll be our last thing. But Kyle B says start three: Gary Wilson, Tank Dell, Devontae Smith, and Jaden Reed.
Ooh,
So
okay.
start
Like,
three and then sit one.
yeah, I think I said good things about Garrett Wilson, but not this week. I think TJ Watt's gonna wreck that game plan with the offensive line there. So I'm gonna stay away from the Jets this week at least. I'm always a big fan of Jaden Reed. He just finds a way to contribute. So I guess he says pick three. Give me the last three. Tank Dell now getting more targets without Nico Collins. Tank Dell got a touchdown last week. They're gonna really look for him this week. Devontae Smith did okay last week. I'm okay with these three,
Yep.
Vic.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have Gary Wilson in one of my leagues. He's been a target
Yeah,
hog the last couple of weeks. I just think with Devontae Adams there, I think I the one thing though, Gilbert, is the way you can beat the Steelers team is through their
that's true.
secondary there. So we'll see. I mean, but I'm with you with those three. Frenzy Fantasy says, last question, fellas. Do you think this team wins a championship? In my 10 men, QB is Hurts, running back is Henry, Brian Robinson, James Conner, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, RS B, which is I'm guessing
Yeah, I'm on Raw.
our Amon Ra, McLaurin, Reed, Mooney, and the tight end is Kincaid.
Obviously, tight ends are kind of a crapshoot. I think Kincaid's been a big disappointment this year. But what can you really do with tight end? And then Jalen Hurts is kind of a little bit of a disappointment too. Honestly, what's wrong with streaming? I know I got in trouble with streaming early on in our league, Victor, but I still ended up with Dak Prescott and Jordan Love. My other league, I've been flipping, every single week. I got Caleb Williams last week. He went off for me. The week before that, I got Trevor Lawrence. That was his best game of the season. So I still believe in the stream. Don't get stuck with quarterbacks that you drafted high. I'm guessing Jalen Hurts was top three. He's kind of been whatever. Other than that, it feels like a good roster, but that don't get stuck with the quarterback. That's my one thing.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I'm with you there because without Saquon, Hurts, I think was a league winner the last 2 seasons. I mean, the person who had the quarterback in our league, with Hurts, the last 2 seasons won our league. So, but that's not the case now with Saquon there. As you said, just go with the streaming option if you need to. I know the person that I'm going up against this week has Hurts. They're gonna start Purdy over Hurts, so that's
Mm,
an I yeah, sometimes it's just better to stream. I'm with you, but it is a championship roster. I guess our advice to you would be the only thing we would change there is just stream a different quarterback week to week, and if Hurst has a good matchup, go ahead and start him.
yeah.
Um,
Being
you know,
one of the worst things in fantasy football is just looking at your roster. Oh, I'm stuck with star power and being complacent, not looking at matchups, not looking at what's on the wire. Things like that definitely doom you in fantasy football.
Yeah, and always look ahead, man. Like
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with looking ahead. If you can pick up, if you have the extra roster spots, I know you said you only had four there. If you can, look ahead and pick up some like a streaming guy the following week where it has an advantage for you, go ahead and take advantage of it. One more fantasy question here. It says AZ Wildcatman says, should I start Robinson, Ridley, or Mooney?
Is it
Is it Brian
Bijan or
Robin?
yeah, or
Yeah,
Brian?
exactly. Is it Brian or Bijan?
Uh,
Um,
maybe he's going off a wide. Is there a wide receiver name? Is it Wandale Robinson? Maybe because he's going wide receivers here. Uh,
okay.
maybe Wandale, Calvin Ridley, Mooney. Uh,
It's Mooney for me, Gilbert. I mean, even if
he's
it's
been good. Yeah,
yeah,
maybe probably Mooney for me. I kind of want to give some love to Wandale because he's a PPR machine, but he doesn't
yep,
get a lot of down the field kind of plays. Mooney does, so I'm with you. And then really, go check out his rant last week. It really is not happy in Tennessee, and I saw this contract being a terrible signing a mile away.
yeah. I'm with you. I go Mooney here. And then last thing here from Matir, he says, Gilbert, I got a hot take for you. Everyone talks good about Shador Sanders in the NFL. I don't think he will be all that. Colorado has done nothing the last 2 years.
I wouldn't disagree with there. I don't want to just knock the kid for being a little too cocky, but I want if you're cocky to the point where you don't work hard and you're at the NFL and you're not putting in the effort, you could maybe get by with your natural ability in the college game, but you can't do it in the NFL. You got to put in the effort. Are you too much of a party guy? Stuff like that concerns me. It sounds dumb to say in this age, but also like he was raised by Deion Sanders, who probably coached him really hard, but he's kind of had everything handed to him in his life. So things like that do concern me about him.
Yeah, and I think I don't really care about that, Gilbert. My thing is, what does he look like on the field? And I think his biggest thing for me is the fact his arm. I just don't think he has the arm to get the ball down the field. But we'll see. We've seen guys put in if he puts in the work, then he can do something. I don't really care about the whole outside noise. We've seen guys like that once you get into a professional locker room, that stuff goes out the window, man. Like we saw like all the stuff from Caleb Williams, and I like I said, if you're good, you're good, man. Like the locker room will take care of those kind of things, and you just gotta respect those dudes because those dudes are grown men and they're there to eat. And if you're taking money out of their plate there, they're not gonna be happy. So they'll say you straight right off the bat, and they don't care who your daddy is. And
Yeah.
so well, like I said, that's why I didn't have a issue with whatever Caleb Williams was doing and crying and all that. if a dude can play, it's gonna show on the field, and that's all I really care about.
I
I
I
don't care
just
about.
I just don't know he's even that good, like Quick Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, like, he might be the f like, if you're doing a last year redraft, he might be the 4th best quarterback, maybe ahead of Michael Penix Jr., but I don't not
yeah,
Jaden, not Drake May, and not Caleb. So that's the thing where, like, to me, it's like, I could put up with that stuff, and, like, I don't even care about the whole, nail painting. I know some people do, some people really care about that, but to
yeah,
me, it's more like, just the kind of the arrogance, a little too cocky, and then also, I don't know, it's just sometimes you see the guys who care more about themselves and not put in the work in the NFL, that's where you really get in trouble. But
yeah.
talent wise, he has it, but I think if you do a redraft, he might be 4th or 5th in this draft.
Yeah, and I mean, Gilbert, we saw it with with Johnny Mansell. Like
Mm,
that's where you need to be careful with that kind of stuff. Like everybody thought that he was really good. Like the one thing I will say though, in fairness to Shador Sanders is that offensive line the last 2 years has been awful, Gilbert.
that's true.
So
That's true.
we'll
And
see. I
he's
mean,
still been accurate, and
yeah.
he's good in shootouts too.
Yeah, and then Nathir says Allen came from Wyoming, but he balls out. So I mean,
He
it's
took 3
true.
years though too. You got to
Yeah,
be patient.
it took him. You got to be patient, and if whoever drafts him is patient with him, and they don't put him out there, I think he has a chance to be good, and we'll see what happens. But Gilbert, that's it for our preview of Week 7. We got a bunch of fantasy questions. We got a lot of new people on here, like AZ, Wildcat Man, Frenzy Fantasy. So it's good to see Dare to Discover, Jax Fried, Noah and Body. So Max Udisky, Javier Delgado. So a lot of new names. CK97. It's awesome to see people sending us their questions. And of course, as always, Atir and Jorge, awesome to have you guys along. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, we appreciate all the comments and all the support here, and just the chatter, and just having a good time here with the compas. Uh, yeah, obviously, please subscribe if you can. We do this, every Thursday to break down the week ahead and some fantasy football conversations. But next week's a little tricky for next Thursday, because I have to go to SoFi Stadium to cover Rams versus Vikings. So maybe, I don't know, Victor. Maybe we could do it after House of Horns on Wednesday night,
Okay.
and then we do House of Horns recap Thursday. Maybe from the stadium. So maybe that could be some way to do it. But we'll discuss it. So be on the lookout possibly for this show, Gilberto's Hour, where we talk fantasy football on Wednesday night next week, just for the one time because of
Yeah.
the schedule conflict.
Yeah, I like that idea. And then one more here. It says Abreu 68, Bijan Cooper Bauer for DJ Johnson, Mason, Jay Daniels. Who wins this trade?
So Bijan, Cooper, Bauer, which I like all three. Cooper's a little kind of injury prone, but he's still a good player. Deontay Johnson, he's good, but it's okay. Mason might lose his job, but I'm not too worried about Mason and Jaden Daniels. I think to me, I keep looking at Bijan. Bijan got somewhat unlocked last week, 2 touchdowns, 95 rushing yards, and then I like Bauer. That's probably one of the bright spots in the tight end. We were asked about tight ends earlier this week.
Yeah, he's the number one tight end right now in
Yeah,
fantasy,
so
Gilbert.
if you have him and you drafted him, good job on that. So I think I like this with the Bijan aspect.
Yeah, that's who I would go. I think the Bijan Cooper and Bauer, especially Cooper going with the to the Bills now, they're going to feature him a lot more. We've seen
Oh,
wide
Mari
receiver.
Cooper. I was thinking Cooper Cup, but yeah, that's also really good.
Whoa, that's true. Is it Cooper Cup?
It might
I
be Amari
mean,
Cooper.
yeah, I think it is Amari Cooper. So if it is either way, we really like that one, even if
Hmm.
it's Cooper Cup, because
Yeah.
yeah, he's going to be back soon. So. But yeah, Gilbert, let's go ahead and close shop and get ready for this weekend. It's Amari
It's
Cooper. So
Amari.
there you go.
I like it better because he's not coming off an injury and he's not injury prone, so that's
Yeah,
even better.
there you go. All right,
Uh,
Gilbert, close us out.
Yeah, Aubrey. Hopefully, you can follow the count here. We're going to be talking fantasy football, and then if you guys just watch our other shows, Lunes Live, we talk football pretty much all week, and and every show is pretty much football centric. So, we go lives on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays was kind of more of our Rams and Chargers shows, but the Monday and Tuesday show, we really encourage you to ask fantasy football questions, sports betting questions. We could stop and answer the question. We have no problem with that. Just join it, Join us on Lunes Live and Four Compas, and you might enjoy the banter. You might enjoy the conversations. I encourage you to watch the show that we had on Tuesday with us four, Dan, Fernando, Victor, and myself. We just had a good time and had good conversations about the NFL. So, and a couple of people even did that. I think we had a couple questions about fantasy football and sports betting. So don't be shy. So just follow the account here and drop comments whenever you see us go live.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of content on here, so please support us. We really love the feedback. If you had guys, have anything for us, go ahead and drop a comment. Just like the rest of the people here, and make sure you join us next week. We got a lot of good stuff coming. Like you said, Gilbert, Lunes Live. We have the Four Compas. We have What's Up, Bulls, House of Horns, and then of course the Heelberto hour. So yeah, just stay locked in, hit that subscribe button, and we got plenty of content for you guys.
Yeah. All right. Time to get going here. A little late here. We're on the West Coast. And if you're on the East Coast, definitely much later for you. But wherever you are, thank you for joining Gilberto's Hour, supporting Compass on the beat. Time to get going. Let's get moving to the weekend slate of week 7. If you're enjoying baseball, have a good time with that. If you're going to a pumpkin patch, have fun with that. If you're going to a Halloween party, have fun with that. I think a lot of people like the October sports calendar for many reasons. So time to get going on to week 7 of the NFL. Ya nos vamos, pues, vámonos.